What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York, calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we are here with Stefan of the Almighty Vulture. Thank you for being here today, man. It's great to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we got the brand new album, Dealin Death, coming out May 21st of this year. Do you just want to talk about like how the making of this record was in terms of how the songwriting came together and how the recording and all that fun stuff came to be?
Yeah, it was a real quick one for us this time. With all the records before, we were very deep into the songwriting thing and were very stuck in our minds and couldn't agree on stuff and worked it out, worked out. And the real result that came across in the end was not what we planned out at the beginning. And this time with Dealing Death, everything was really easygoing, really smooth. We just said, okay, let's write songs we would like to listen to as fans and not as musicians, because that's what we did with the record before, I think. And the whole process was so easy and smooth. We wrote songs partially when we were on tour with Ram, so we just took the time we spent together where we're not forced to do stuff or carry stuff around, and sat down, wrote songs, wrote riffs, and that went super fast. The first three tracks were done before Ghastly Waves was released. And I think a good half a year later, everything was pretty much ready for the studio.
So this sounded like it was a very organic and very easy songwriting
Yeah,
process. It pretty
yeah.
much is it fair to
I
say?
was so relieved that it was like this
Mhm.
this time, because if we wouldn't have chose a different partner this time, we would have definitely lost ourselves in songwriting.
Yeah. So, do you think that maybe that's a result that maybe like Vulture has finally found their sound and finally found out like kind of what the Vulture sound like is trying to be? Like, is it fair to say that maybe with Deal and Death you kind of found yourself on this album?
I think we found ourselves much earlier already. I think we were pretty confident with what we did straight from the demo. I think we kind of lost track of that with the last record, and are now back on our original way, if you can say so. But yeah, of course, we did mistakes, we did things great, and now it's all a combination of everything. And yeah, of course, yeah, we're feeling much more confident with that. Yeah.
Mhm. Do you feel that the first single that you released off of Dealing Death, Malicious Souls, almost serves as like a good representation of what this whole album is going to sound like, or is that just the
Yeah.
first taste
Yeah.
of it?
Yeah, we chose this one because it somehow has all those Vulture elements combined. Like, it's fast, thrashy. It has a melodic part. It has aggressive root vocals. It has some sung vocals, if you can say so. Like, everything that is Vulture is somehow put into this song. So we said to ourselves, let's put this one first. People will like it, maybe, hopefully, and we can't do anything wrong. I'm pretty excited to see the reactions for the next video we're going to put out in, I think, 2 weeks, because that song is definitely different. A lot more classical heavy metal, a lot of melodies. I can't wait to see the reactions for that one.
Hmm. Do you feel that like you do you prefer to start the songwriting process off with like a preconceived idea of what you want to do, or is there kind of like a lot of improvising involved in this in the Vulture songwriting process?
No, it's all planned. Like, we write stuff at home. We don't see each other that much, not because of COVID, obviously, also because of COVID, but also beforehand we live all across the area, and have a lot of traveling time in between our apartments. And therefore we write everything at home and exchange ideas online, and therefore our songwriting has always been non-spontaneously at all. So there's no spontaneously in Vulture at all,
Okay.
not a single element.
Being so far away, does it make it like do you fear that that could sometimes make the songwriting process a little bit more disconnected, or do you maybe find it a little bit easier that everybody kind of is able to be in their own element to bring new things to the table?
Yep, yeah, I think that's the way. We don't know it any different. We've never written stuff in a different way. I think the distance between us be might become tough, or be tough from time to time, in terms of being friends and staying in touch in a natural way, and not like if we meet up, it's a total combination of I know 12 hours in the car so combined for everybody, and that's also why we often see each other only when we do band stuff. And that's a bummer sometimes, because we just also want to be friends and have fun together, and that's something we need to have in mind a lot.
Yeah. Well, maybe when Vulture finally tours and you could bring a Vulture to the States, maybe that's when you could finally do. That's when bands really get to know each other, when they're brushing their
Yeah,
teeth. Yeah.
definitely, yeah,
When they're brushing
definitely.
their teeth on the side of the highway together.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. That was like we did this for the first time 2 years ago, and it was great. We loved it, but we were also happy to not see each other afterwards for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And does this have would you say that Dealing Death has maybe some similar elements to your previous album, Ghastly Waves and Battered Graves, or do you think were you trying to maybe step into more uncharted territory with the making of Dealing Death?
Of course, the riffing and the song structure thing and that whole Vulture sound is still there. It's been on every record so far, but I think they're going to be hard to compare actually, because also because of the sound. Like Ghastly Waves is very washy, a lot of reverb, a lot of delay. I will never forget the moment. During the mixing phase of Ghastly Waves, where Marco, our producer, asked us, guys, don't you think that's enough reverb on guitars now? And I said no. And the proper answer would have been yes, I guess. And that's something we avoided this time. So we listened to advice from the producer side, and that helped us a lot.
Yeah.
So I think they are hard to compare, but the basic elements are there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, having a great producer could really make all the difference for an album as well, right?
Definitely. Yeah, and we know that guy since we were like 15, 16. We grew up together somehow musically, and he became a professional, and we stuck where we were. And he's very talented. Like, and he's trying to do things authentic. I think like everybody can get a laptop and install Pro Tools and call himself a producer to some degree, but he's really good at it, and he's really digging deep into those how did they do it back then area. Like we said, okay, the guitars on Dealing Death, we love the guitar sound on Eternal Nightmare by Violence. Let's somehow try and do it a little bit like that. And what he did was try to find out who produced Eternal Nightmare, got his email somehow, I don't know, and messaged him and said, hey, how did you do it? And he got an answer, and he used that to emulate certain stuff, some desk things. I wrote a message on Instagram to Phil Demo, the guitar player of Violence, and asked him, hey, back then, which amp did you use? And he answered me, and then we just reproduced. So it's digging deep, it's a lot of authentic, it's a lot of hard work, and that's what really makes this great producer, I think.
Yeah, I've always said the producer is the fifth Beatle, the sixth Beatle, and Slipknot the 10th Beatle. So, yeah. Now, for your guitar playing, I mean, do you have a theoretical background in which you follow that contributes to your guitar playing, or are you completely self-taught?
Yeah. Like when I was 12, 13, I started picking up the guitar. And I did it because I started listening to heavy metal, and I wanted to do that too. And my sister had a boyfriend who was playing in a metal band, and he got me some first lessons, like for I think like half a year or something. And then afterwards, everything was self-taught. And I was always into riffs and not that much into solo stuff. That's probably why I'm still not that good at it. I'm more the riffing person. But yeah, it's all self-taught and no theoretical background at all. Like right now, I try to teach myself some stuff here and there for songwriting things. And our drummer Geron, he's the only professional musician. He's like he studied drums, and he can help us with the stuff sometime. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't undermine the riffing style, because when it comes to writing riffs, I mean, you have to make them catchy. They have to have hooks. They have to have a
Yeah.
rhythmic bass on it.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
think when it comes, and I mean, riffing is what makes a metal song a metal song. So,
Yeah. Definitely.
so
Definitely.
don't undermine the riffs. Is that how every song always starts off? Is with a riffing style?
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it always start off with the riffs?
For us, definitely, of course, like the first idea is always the main riff, and then it goes on maybe into some verse stuff. But before we get into the chorus, we need a song title, and once we got that and a catchy phrase around that, we're good to go. But it's always riffs, riffs, riffs. Yeah.
Has there ever been a time where maybe like lyrics or a concept can influence the sound of Vulture's music in a way? Like, has your music ever been conceptually driven, or is that not really like something that you pay too much attention to?
No, I think by now it's like Dealing Death is our third record. We have our own way of riffing to some degree, and we know what comes next when we play certain patterns to sound like Vulture sound. But beyond that, there is no big concept or something. We're not this type of band. I think we're not open for stuff like that.
Well, I think what's great about Vulture's music is that it's the type of heavy metal where there's no explanation needed. I feel like it's just
Yeah,
I just call it heavy metal. I don't call it death metal or black metal or grindcore or metalcore. I just think it's straight up heavy fucking metal.
yeah. It's influences from all around. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that having different influences influences your music as well? Like, do you have like many different styles of music that contributes to Vulture's music?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think you can't make authentic thrash speed metal if you just listen to Rain and Blood the whole time.
Yeah.
And so you need some proper influences and some more ideas to get your own, to find your own niche somehow. And we listen to a lot of like I myself, I'm rather straightforward with my musical taste, but there's a lot of other influences around with the other guys, and we listen to a lot of classic heavy metal, Priest, Saxon, Diamond Head, whatsoever, a lot of 70s stuff, and all that kind of finds its way into our songs. May it be lyrics, may it be structures, may it be cool melody ideas, twin guitars, or may it be riffs. Yeah, definitely.
Who was your ultimate guitar hero, like that you take inspiration from?
That I don't have any. I don't know. That's. I've never been a person to say, oh, I'm gonna be like the next Van Halen or the next Malmsteen, because I always thought right away, oh, I'm not too good for that. I'm not good enough for that. And so I always focused on riffs and on writing music rather than trying to learn certain patterns and how to move your fingers probably so it doesn't sound like garbage. And that's why I was always more into bands rather than persons. And so if I try to think of anyone from when I grew up and trying to be a guitarist, it's probably like Mike from Destruction, because he wrote great riffs, or Frank Blackfire from Sodom, because he did Kerry King. All those feel more closer to my heart than Malmsteen, Van Halen, or who else.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought that like a great like riffer ever was my personal favorite guitar player is Dino from Fear Factory. I mean, those are some of the hardest, heaviest riffs you'll hear, like da 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 da, like real hard hitting. So I thought like maybe in terms of like, and of course Dimebag Darrell is also one of the kings of the riffs, and Matt Pike is a.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, he's got a proper unique sound, right? But I'm not into Pantera at all.
Oh, really? Wow.
No, not at all.
That's probably the
we
most...
grew up, where we grew up, that area, everybody was listening to Pantera, and I started to do it too. And it sort of, I think it was like an anti-movement by myself to start disliking Pantera, but I'm pretty happy that I still stick with it. I don't like this wow stuff too much, that groovy elements. I like it fast forward. I like it more natural sounding. than Pantera in that Fear Factory niche.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of hate mail now for hating on Pantera, but
Yeah,
hey,
maybe.
but no, you're entitled to your opinion, and like I'm sure there's people who agree. I mean, there's metal is so diverse nowadays. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
some
It
of the
is.
most
And Dimebag Darrell has don't get me wrong, is one fantastic guitar player. And I grew up with a lot of Pantera, and I tried to play it a lot, and I couldn't. Maybe that's maybe that's why, because I couldn't play it properly.
maybe, and like there's I also find that like when it comes to guitar playing styles, being a guitar player is almost like having a unique voice in itself. Like Dimebag had his own guitar style, Eddie Van Halen had his own guitar style, Malmsteen had his own guitar style, and I think a lot of guitar players have their own style. But I think like in the end, it's a good song is what matters the most. I mean, you could be a great
Yeah,
guitar
definitely.
player, but there's something about a great guitar player, a great drummer, and a great vocalist working together to write a great song.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't matter if you're like able to play all those licks. If you're not able to write a good riff, then it's not worth anything.
Yeah, definitely. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Is there just anything else with Vulture that you would like to promote with the release of Dealing Death?
No, I'm. Thanks for having me. I hope people will like the new record, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody, we are here with Vulture. Be sure to check out the new album, Dealing Death, coming out via Metal Blade Records this May. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.